Hello everybody and welcome to that time of year again. And no, I don't mean that time or that time either, because the only thing in this video which is going to scare you is the level of talent that you are going to witness. Nice segue, because it is time for another one of our Golden Demon roundups. Yay! For those who are out of the loop or who may be new here, Golden Demon is a miniature painting competition held by Games Workshop themselves, which invites the world's best miniature painters from all over the globe to gather together for one weekend to flex their hard work and unfathomable artistic talent in the hopes of winning a Golden Demon trophy, or the grandest prize of all, the Slayer Sword. And last week, as I'm filming this video now, this absolute power horse of a painting competition was held at the world's largest board game convention, Spiel Essen. So I decided to haul my butt all the way over to Germany to get a slice of the action, and so I could see the whole Golden Demon competition in person myself. And as usual in this video, I'm going to show you guys all of the biggest, smoothest, mind-bogglingest, and of course the most well-painted miniatures which won big at the competition, as well as reveal the overall winner of the whole event, who went home with the Slayer Sword. And I know I say this like every year, but this time I really mean it, and in a minute you guys will see why for yourself, but I do think that this may have been the most impressive Golden Demon competition that I have ever seen in my life. So settle in with a warm drink, put your feet up, and allow me to show you what it looks like when some of the most talented miniature painters in the entire world compete against themselves and also each other to make some of the most stunning pieces of art I have ever witnessed on display. Whoosh. Let's go. So just now, I hyped up this year as being like the best Golden Demon I've ever seen, and if you doubted me at all, then let me prove it now by showing you all the winners in this category, and then I will reveal what this category actually was. Here are the bronze, silver, and gold winners for this particular category, and get a good look at them. They are absolutely stunning, right? They are perfectly painted and absolutely deserving of their places in the top 3. But what if I told you that this was the Youngbloods category? Right. That's right. All of the contestants who painted these phenomenal miniatures are 15 years and younger. When I looked at this cabinet at Golden Demon, I swear for ages I just thought I was looking at the spillover from the open category before I realized that it was labeled Youngbloods, and it just seems like every single year the standard in this group just quadruples. So a massive congratulations to Henry, Stan, and Maximilian for these incredible pieces. If this is what they're producing now, then I'm sure they will be kicking butts in the main competition in just a few years, so watch out. Now, usually I like to kick off these Golden Demon roundups with the 40k single miniature category, because I know how much you guys love to see a well-painted Space Marine, but if you are not the biggest Space Marine fan in the world, then I have some good news for you, because the top 3 winners in this category didn't feature any Astartes miniatures at all. In bronze, we are starting extremely strong with this incredible Phoenix Lord, painted of course by the ludicrously talented Andy Wardle from the Cult of Paint. One thing amongst many things which Andy always knocks out the park is his reds and his oranges, which, as you can see on his Fuegan Eldar, are absolutely some of the best I have ever seen painted on a miniature. Like, whenever I paint red, it always looks orange, so the fact that he's managed to so distinctly render these two colors next to each other and have them look so different from each other and be so perfect really blows my mind, and this entry is definitely one I'm going to be zooming into endlessly in the future for references. In silver, we have another stunning Eldar miniature, but this time of the dark, or I guess Drukari variety, painted up by Johan Leddick. And whilst I love everything about the paintwork on this miniature, from his lank-looking greenish blonde hair to his shiny, mysterious-looking blue armor, I have to say that the extremely cocky and kind of casual pose on this miniature is what is is really doing it for me. It's just a subtle change which switches this whole miniature from generically combat ready to a little bit more cool and almost kind of storytelling for me. But of course, the winner of gold in the 40k single category went to Matthew City and his perfectly painted Kroot. And don't you just love to see it? The crew are always a fan favorite within the 40k community in general, so it's amazing to see this miniature being done such justice with this paint job and then being celebrated too at this level. The skin tones are so well shaded that it almost looks like a 3D render no matter how much you zoom in on it. Even the lighter skin tones around the stomach have these deep shadows which make the miniature look almost unreal. This is such a beautiful paint job, so a massive well done to Matthew for winning gold. But if, like me, you are a little bit of a Space Marine fan, then fear not, because the 40k unit category has you covered with some beautifully painted Astartes miniatures. Winning bronze in this category was Eric Swinson with his flawless Deathwatch kill team. Eric is well known for his Space Marines and especially his face painting talent, and they are on full display with this warband. The armor and non-metallics are flawless, the chipping is impossibly small, and just look at the glow effects bouncing off the faces on these miniatures. It's actually so incredible. Also, I love that Eric is once again proving that you do not necessarily need a big fancy scenic plinth in order to win big at Golden Demon. It's always really nice to see a gaming base on display with just a simple black plinth, so thanks Eric. Next up in silver with this beautiful squad of Eldar Hawks is a very familiar Golden Demon name, Hendarian. Hendarian is known for loving Eldar and being extremely good at painting them too, in this very high contrast graphic-y style which almost looks a little bit glossy. And this piece is definitely a fantastic testament to all of his talent, commitment, and his own personal style. But winning gold in this very competitive category was Martin Peterson with his awesome Space Wolf unit. As a proud, unironic Space Wolf lover myself, this was such an amazing piece to see in real life as well. At a glance, you can instantly tell that one of this entry's huge strengths is just the cleanness of all of the miniatures. They're all perfectly painted, but if you take a closer look, you start to notice that the level of details on each of the miniatures goes into the micro, with all of those impossibly small scratches and chips covering the ceramite. This is just a beautiful entry, so a massive congratulations to Martin. Next up is one of my personal favorite categories because it usually has a lot of big hench Warhammer guys in it, and that is of course the Horus Heresy category, and in particular I want to draw attention to the winner of gold, which was this dark and spooky Iron Warriors Saturnine Terminator painted by Duan Henlong. I think when these Saturnine Termies came out, they got a little bit of stick for being a little too stiff and unposable, but Duan has knocked it out of the park here by giving this guy so much cool and threatening personality with this almost relaxed and just out of combat pose. And yes, needless to say, the paintwork on this guy as well is absolutely flawless. The yellowy sepia-toned mottled black armor, the non-metallic metallics, the hand-painted backdrop, and the menacing but subtle OSL glow effect coming from his eye lens all comes together so wonderfully on this miniature. And speaking of grimdark, let's take a little look at some of my favorite entries in the whole competition as we step into the grimy yet characterful world of the Necromunda category. First up, we have Nicholas Rubens Mortensen, who to my delight won bronze with one of my favorite Necromunda miniatures ever, which is this gorgeous little exotic pet stealer. As a fan of little guys in general, of course I love how many funny little animals this miniature has, and Nicholas absolutely smashed the expressions on every single one, but especially the baby Sumpcroc here, who looks particularly gormless and a little bit afraid too, and I can't blame him, as it appears his brother has gotten turned into a particularly fetching pair of croc skin boots. Silver in this category went to Baptiste Rochelle Debe with his beautifully painted, definitely not a blood angel, Vandoth the Fallen Bounty Hunter. But the overall winner of gold in the Necromunda category was Florian Weinand with their absolutely stunning Tai on Myodo Coven Gangers. Again, Necromunda always knocks it out the park when it comes to creating incredibly artistic looking miniatures, so it's no wonder that someone as talented and skilled as Florian chose these beautiful minis to be his subject for his Golden Demon entry. Whilst I could go on forever about the base of this miniature, which depicts a grim dark underhive twist on some traditional Japanese water garden features, which I think is absolutely genius, I of course have to draw attention to the level of free-handed detail put into both of these ladies' kimonos. They're both so unique, and by the looks of it, Florian has put in a lot of research into this piece as well, and again, this is one that I could just look at for hours. Moving on now to the Blood Bowl category, which as usual was one of my favorites in the whole competition due to how fun and characterful all the entries were. Earning silver was Pablo Garcia Salinas with this amazing elf piece. I love how simple yet striking and obviously well painted this whole miniature is, but the thing which really blew me away about this guy is the contact point between the ball and the miniature's finger. Like, it has to be pinned or something, right? I crept to the cabinet after this winner was announced to have another look in real life, and I really can't work it out. This has to be the smallest connection point I have ever seen on a miniature. Truly amazing. But gold in the Blood Bowl category went to Jordan Toner and his beautiful Black Orc Blitzer. Apart from the fact that this orc is clearly a perfectly painted masterpiece, what I love about this miniature the most is that black armor. And I've spent ages zooming into this image to try and work out just how he's done this very mottled black effect, which is also on his non-metallic blade too, and it seems to just be layers of impossibly small micro scratches and maybe some super light stippling for the highlights too. Either way, this whole miniature is absolutely phenomenal and it definitely deserves its first place win. The open category is the group reserved for miniatures which don't quite fit in the other categories due to them either being heavily or entirely hand sculpted, entered by staff members who can't compete in the main categories, or a bunch of other reasons, which is where I come in. I'm one of the bunch of other reasons. Yay! If you watched my Extreme Orc Makeover video a month or two ago, then you'll know that I made an entry for this year's Golden Demon, which was a restoration of a very old Citadel miniature from 1983, which predated all the modern Warhammer IPs such as 40k, Fantasy, and Age of Sigmar. And this means that when it came to me actually entering him into Golden Demon, he had to be put in the open category, and I'm just really glad that he made it into the competition. Part of me was a bit worried that maybe he wouldn't be Golden Demon legal, so I'm really glad I entered him without a hitch. Either way, I'm extremely pleased to announce that I managed to nab myself a commended pin for my old 40-year-old-ish orc restoration project. And I am absolutely delighted with this outcome, really. It's definitely the best that I've ever done at any Golden Demon I've ever entered in all my years of entering, and I'm just pleased that this old man managed to finally, after years of being an unwanted scrap of metal, get the recognition that I think he deserves. So, yay me, and yay him. But enough about me, let's have a look at the real winner of the open category, which was once again Nicholas Rubens Mortensen and his stunningly highly converted and partially sculpted Tamra Khan. It's quite common in Golden Demon to submit miniatures with sculpted elements and pose changes, but this one was so heavily converted that it was put in the open category. However, you'd never know looking at it since the sculpted elements are just so flawless that it looks like an official miniature. But on top of this, obviously the paintwork on this miniature is absolutely stunning as well. All of the non-metallic metals, especially that dark beaten iron, looks amazing, and all of the little flecks of rusty colors around the base too really tie this whole thing together. Moving on to the diorama category now, and starting very strong with Etu Tarkamo's silver-winning Deathcore and Sororitas piece. This is one I'd seen posted online quite a lot before for the actual competition, so I'm really happy that I was able to see it winning big at Golden Demon because it is absolutely stunning. I always say this every single year, but I do love to see these kind of non-combat scenes in these categories, and this beautiful and sad scene of a Death Corps of Krieg's guardsman reading a fallen sister of battle her final rites certainly does it for me. But winning gold in the diorama category with yet another one of my favorite entries in this whole competition was this stunning and sad Lumineth diorama converted and painted by, again, Andy Wardle. A few of Andy's previous entries into Golden Demon have had this similar kind of quiet or sad moment vibe, and this is one of the best I think he has done yet. The amount of converting and sculpting it must have taken to repose, especially the beautiful Scanari miniature into this elegant draped pose, is impressive in of itself, but of course it's the paint job that really takes this whole piece to the next level. Especially the pink on the dress. As I said with Andy's previous entry this year, he has a habit of taking colours which are hard to paint and then he just makes them look absolutely effortless. I especially love all of the pink reflections at the bottom of the armor pieces here, and this is just a spectacular miniature overall. I love this so much. Now for the old world category, which in my opinion is fast becoming one of the best and most competitive in the entire Golden Demon competition, and we're gonna start off strong in bronze with this absolutely stunning High Elf painted by Nils Anderson. Given the fact that this absolutely mind-blowing piece is in bronze place, I think you can now understand what I mean when I say the competition in this category especially is very fierce, because just look at how beautiful this miniature is. And yes, if you're wondering, somehow it is actually this saturated in real life, and as someone who loves using saturated colors, seeing this piece basically glowing in the cabinets was such a treat. I especially love all of these subtle pinky tones which have been incorporated into the tree and the stonework too. It's all just so masterfully done. In silver, we have this classic and iconic Orc Shaman miniature brought lovingly back to life by Urka Martillo. As a massive fan of this miniature in general, it's amazing to see it polished up to the nines by Urka and winning big at Golden Demon again. I especially love the incredibly shaded bone tones on his staff, the almost fluffy looking smoke, and of course the inclusion of a tiny little frog on the base. Let's go, little guys. But of course, the winner of gold and yet another one of my favorite entries in the whole competition went to the delightful Angelo DiCello and his stunning watery Mao Ying, the Water Dragon miniature. This is an example of a beautiful miniature painted beautifully, and I particularly love how Angelo emphasized the water elements on this mini. In fact, I cannot believe that this is how she should have been painted from the very start. The free-handed reflective wave pattern, her gorgeous makeup, which almost looks like it's dripped down her face a little bit after becoming wet, and especially the watery magical effects on this piece really come together to make what I think is one of the best entries in the entire show this year. And speaking of the most competitive categories in the entire competition, it's time to take a look at the Age of Sigmar ones, starting with the single miniature category. Taking home bronze in the Age of Sigmar single miniature category is another very familiar Golden Demon name, Richard Grey, with his shining and hulking Coronate Deathbringer. As usual, when it comes to anything that Richard Grey decides to paint, this guy is just perfect, and whilst the usual Khorne color scheme on this miniature is normally dominantly red, the warm tones on this mini still radiate out in a very Coronate way due to all the luscious gold and yellow tones that Richard has put in across the entire miniature. And again, as usual, all of the non-metallic metals on this guy are absolutely on point. But of course, it wouldn't be Golden Demon without a good old-fashioned, perfectly executed resin pour water effect. And I'm pleased to say that silver in the Age of Sigmar single category gave us just that with this mighty and stoic raven-like Cities of Sigmar rider. And yes, the resin pour is just a small element of what makes this piece beautiful, because the first thing that anyone else would would notice is just how well painted that horse and the rider is. As someone who loves a little bit of color in their non-metallic metals, all of those pink and yellow tones in the wing element here is absolutely non-metallic gold. And again, this is another miniature that I will definitely be going back to for reference when I do my own non-metallics later. And now moving on to the Age of Sigmar large miniature category, where I am delighted to announce that YouTube's very own Lucas from the Squidmar channel earned bronze with his gnarly winged demon, which for a while now I've been trying to work out what all the pieces are for its conversion. I know that the body is the Wilder Fiend and I think the head is a demon prince, but I'm not really sure what the wings are, so let me know in the comment section if you can work it out. But either way, what a fantastic miniature, and a massive well done to Lucas on what I believe is his very first golden demon. But once again, winning gold in this category was Angelo DiCello, who absolutely blew everyone away with his strangely alluring and impeccably painted Slaneshi demon Shalaxi. Once again, Angelo has pulled off an absolutely beautiful miniature, and I love the way that he's painted Shalaxi's bodice and sheer tights in this almost color-shifting iridescent way. And of course, I had to pop on over to his Instagram to find some more detailed images of the miniature's face, because the paintwork here is just incredible. Like, you'd think that Angelo was a professional makeup artist as well as a miniature painter just by looking at this face. I especially love those magical soft blue tones that he's added in with the skin tones as well. This whole piece is truly a feat of color expression and blending skill all rolled into one, and it definitely deserved gold in this category. But before we move on to the final and overall winning entry in the whole competition, the Slayer Sword winner, I want to quickly show you guys some of my personal favorite entries in the competition, which didn't quite make the top 3 in their categories. And like I've said numerous times already, this year felt really special, which meant the competition was also probably extremely harsh too. So as usual, when I do these videos, I want you guys watching to participate and comment below who your favorite artist and entry was from this year, especially if they are not mentioned in this video. Maybe even drop a link to your favorite artist's Instagram or profile too, so we can all share the hobby love together and give these fantastically hardworking painters the credit and recognition that I believe that they all deserve. But now for the one that you've all been waiting for, the winner of the Slayer Sword and this final golden demon of 2025 was of course Albert Moretto Font with his brain-meltingly perfect Age of Sigmar wizard piece. And I kind of don't know what to say about this miniature or even where to start, because it really does have me absolutely speechless. And I'm not kidding when I say this may be the best painted miniature I have ever seen in my entire life. And trust me when I say it does look even better in real life, because you're also reminded of just how tiny this piece is as well. First of all, I love the consistent color scheme throughout this miniature, which just visually ties the whole thing together. Having those saturated greens and blues present, from the flames on the candles to the potions in the bottle, is such a great stylistic choice, which just makes the whole piece feel like it's oozing with magic. But yes, the technical skill level on this miniature is definitely something like I have never seen before. The bluey green non-metallic framework on the cabinet, the mottled, almost stippled texture on the felt cloak, and especially all of those perfectly rendered and shaded potion bottles with their reflected undersides are just incredible. And as usual, I really recommend popping over to Albert's social media pages so you can have a more detailed look at his work, because the zoom-ins and especially all of the conversion work in progress pictures of this project are about as mind-blowing as the finished miniature itself. As usual, I'm going to end this video by reminding you guys that this video and every other Golden Demon roundup I do could easily be like 7 hours long if I was to cover every single entry this year that won, got a pin, or just generally blew my mind. So please, I implore you all to either head on over to the Warhammer community article on Golden Demon to fawn over the high resolution pictures of the winners like I did, or better yet, find your favorite artist's social media page, give give them a follow, and even leave them a comment to tell them that you really appreciate and support their work. And as always, if you've watched this video and you're feeling maybe a little bit downtrodden instead of inspired by all of these incredible miniatures, then it's really important to remember that we are all on our own personal miniature painting journeys, both me, you, and even the Golden Demon winners too. And if we just keep practicing, keep learning, and keep on trying our best to be proud of our own progress and hobby achievements along the way, then maybe one day we will get our own Golden Demon trophies too. But I'm afraid that is all we have time for today, and I need to rest my voice. So as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for being rogues. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye bye. Bye.